Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Adelyn, and today's video is going to be one of my Christian Girl Talk videos. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's just go ahead and jump right in. So today I was trying to think about what kind of video I wanted to film. You know, what do people need to hear? What do people, what can I share about that people might be interested in? And a question that popped into my mind that people have asked before is Christianity boring? If I become a Christian, is my life going to be boring? And I feel like that's a very valid question. If you've asked yourself that, is my life going to be boring? If you're pondering, do I want to become a Christian? I know these Christian people and they're kind of boring. That's a valid question. I'm not going to sit here and say, you're wrong for thinking that. There are many people that think that way. And so I wanted to share from my experience and my opinion and, biblical truth that I know to you guys, and not saying I have all the answers, or I really don't want to put anyone down. That is not my intention at all. Any other denomination or religion or anything, I don't want to put that down at all. But I do want to share from my experience. So I was homeschooled and I went to a Christian school. I'd never been to public school before. So you might be thinking, this girl has lived her life in a bubble. Of course she thinks her bubble life is perfect, and that her life is great. But I have grown up, with many other friends who have had so many different backgrounds and life experiences, religious experiences, different points in their life when they've, come to the church and they've given their life to God. And the first thing I want to start out by saying is that, Christianity is about a relationship with God and not a religion. And it's not something that you have to do or earn or, be good enough to get to have or get to do. But it's a valid question to say, is Christianity boring? Do I need to earn my way to heaven? Do I need to do all these things? And I just want to say that, from the world's perspective, my life probably looks extremely boring. She never goes to clubs. She never goes to bars. She's not having sex before marriage. Like, she's not living with her boyfriend or fiance. Like, what is she doing? Like, her life is so boring. And it just reminds me of Romans 12:2 that says, don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, because this world has the way that they do things. And so when you're not conforming to that, you look boring, you look weird, you look, out of place. And that's what Jesus says that we're going to encounter. I am living a different life. That the word holy means to be set apart. And so I am living a life striving towards holiness, meaning that my life is not going to look the same of those of the world. And that doesn't make me better than them. I still love them. I still care for them. I still want to reach them, but my life is just simply not going to look the same. And so if you're sitting here asking that question, being like, can I have fun in life as a Christian? Can I, experience fun things? And, Jesus came to give life and life abundantly. And, he says that he wants to give us a life with fullness of joy. We're not supposed to sit around and, say, in order for me to look like a good Christian, I need to read my Bible for 4 hours a day and be in these long prayer circles, and that's my hobby. That's my way of having fun. Because having fun in life is not a bad thing at all. It's the type of fun that you're having. And so the world looks at me and probably thinks I have no fun in life. But I can sit here and say that my life is full of joy and peace and all the things that the world so badly wants. They really want these things. They want peace, they want love, they want joy, they want these things, but they're just searching in the wrong place for them. When all of these things are in God and who He is, and when you give your life to Him and you commit to it, you will find all of these things. My idea of having fun is roller skating at the beach, or taking photos, or hanging out with my friends. I have a life group of girls. There's 10 of us that we meet every single Monday, and we have so much fun together. We laugh, we hang out, we do really fun things. Like, I just had my bachelorette weekend for my wedding, and it was so much fun. We went roller skating, which is one of my favorite things to do. We went to the beach, another favorite thing to do. We went, thrift shopping, and we hung out, and we, decorated the place, and it was so much fun. I didn't do anything inappropriate or anything bad, and I had a great time. So, but the world was literally looking at me, probably thinking, like, when I walked into some of these thrift store shops with like all of my bridesmaids, they're probably thinking, like, why is this girl out at 11 in the morning and not 11 at night, like at a bar or something, because they're looking at me like, this girl is different. Like, what is she doing? She's so, out of place from a typical bachelorette that would happen with so many different bar hopping and clubbing and all the things, you know, that go on, strip clubs and just all the things. And so I just want to stand here and say that my life, I would never categorize as boring. I love serving. I love using my time to pour into the next generation and, you know, do things that I'm passionate about. But in the church, God gives us spiritual gifts and he gives us passions and things that we're passionate about to serve him and to love him, that fills our cup. You know, when you're doing all these self-seeking things like, you know, doing drugs or things like that people think are fun, you know, especially in high school, they're like, that's the thing to do, that's fun, you know, like I want to go out drinking and I want to do all these things, you know, those are self-seeking things. But when you're actually taking your time to pour out into other people, you feel so filled and you feel so full of life and joy, because that's how you're designed to be. You're designed to love God, know him, serve him, and serve his people and be in community with his people. You know, the Bible, the New Testament, Paul is very clear that community is a beautiful thing, to gather together, you know, to be with the brethren and to, you know, experience God among other people. I have so much fun at my church. My church puts on events and we do plenty of things that are so much fun, and they're all to glorify God. You know, the fun that we have day to day is because of God. You know, that he gives us these people in our lives to have fun with. Like I said, my life group, we do so many fun things together. We've done so many different like themed nights, or we go places, or, you know, we hang out, we laugh, we do all kinds of fun things. And that's all with Christian people. It's not like, oh, if I want to have fun, like I have to go hang out with my non-Christian friends. And I do want to put this statement out there that there can be boring Christian people, just like there can be boring non-Christian people. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're a Christian means that you're boring, you know, but there can be people that might be, you know, a little bit more boring. They don't like to go out and do things. They'd rather just stay home and sit on the computer or whatever, you know, like that's their fun, but that's not the category or, you know, label that Christians, you know, that they should have, because life can be so much fun. And I can sit here all day and try to convince you. But the thing is that until you actually experience God and have a real relationship with him and dive into his community and all the things he has for you with your spiritual gifts, you can't fully experience that, because the Holy Spirit is the one that fills you. And, you know, that's where that abundant life comes in, is that you can have fun as a non-Christian, but maybe those things are fun to you. But to look at non-Christians and say, you know, I don't want to become a Christian because that life seems too boring. And, you know, there are some religions that require you to do things to serve the religion. You know, it's in the name of God, but it's not, you know, for God. You know, you need to pray 5 times a day, or, you know, you need to do these certain things that, you know, serve the religion. And so that's when, you know, the stigmas start to come in of, is this life boring, or is it, you know, dull, or all those questions that you might be having. And so I'm here to say that as a Christian, I do not believe that this life is boring. And I know this video is kind of all over the place, but I'm really just speaking from the heart and speaking on how I feel that I shouldn't have to convince anyone that when you become a Christian, you will find that you are finding so much of the fruit of the Spirit, you know, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. You're going to be filled with those things, and you're going to start seeing that there's such an abundance of it. Even my fiance, Damien, I've shared a couple of times a little bit about his story, but in high school, he was addicted to drugs, and I'm not sharing this out of like, he would totally let me. It's posted on our Instagram and stuff. But he was addicted to drugs in high school, and he was falling flat on his face over and over. And he kept feeling like this high is still not enough. Like I'm getting high and I still feel so empty. Nothing is taking this away. And his story is really powerful, because there was a day that on his senior ditch day, he went to the beach, and he was with some friends, and it was Good Friday, which is literally around this time of year. And it was Good Friday that he, you know, randomly had this prompting to text his mom and say, you know, I want to go to church on Good Friday with you. And he ended up that night, long story short, giving his life to Christ again, and completely dropped all of the drug addictions and all of the things that he was doing, you know. And it was hard, because what this requires of you sometimes is the Christian life that may make it seem boring, is that, you know, in that moment, he had to drop some of his friends. And that's a really hard thing to do. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's an easy thing for you to just give up your friends, because it's hard, because these people influence you. And so For him, it looked like giving up the people that were influencing him to do drugs. And so it's as simple as that God changes your life and you have to make changes. But it sounds really simple, but it's not that simple at the same time, because it requires sacrifice and for you to understand, I can't live this life anymore. I can't do it. I can't continue to be friends with these people when they're influencing me to get into these things, or you want to be around less negative people. You want to start being around more positive friends. And it's hard to drop friends. It's hard to drop the things that maybe you were used to. He was used to cuss a lot, and I'm sure that wasn't easy. I didn't know him at the time, but I'm sure that wasn't easy to just stop doing that. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifice to say, this way that God has is better for me. That some of my friends might think it's boring and that I'm making the wrong decision and that I'm not myself anymore and that I'm changing. But God says, I have made you a new creation. And so when they think you're not yourself anymore, that's because you were being pruned all the things out of you, the sinful patterns in your life, and you were becoming more, sanctified to be more like God. And so that is a hard process, and I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy. It's not, but it's so worth it in the end. I've seen the fruit I've seen videos and pictures and heard the stories of how my fiance Damien was before, and to see now that literally tonight he's going to baptize a bunch of people in Jesus' name. And it's beautiful to see that there has been this 180 turn completely from his life and what he used to be into what he's into now. And the things that he finds fun are golf and hanging out with friends and, playing games and, doing things where, we go out and do whatever, like go to the mall, hang out. People are like, that's so boring, but like non-Christians are doing the same thing. They're just adding sin to it. And in the end, it's weighing them down. It's really not a matter of, is this boring or not? It's really the matter of, is this sinful in my life and is this hurting my life? And there are good people out there that are still, non-Christian, and there are good people. They might not be having the big name sins of drugs, alcohol, sex, those big things. But that doesn't mean that they have that same fulfillment. They're still searching. They're still longing for something deeper that Jesus can offer, a purpose and a plan for your life that he speaks into you, and that you will just, it's so hard to describe, but have a complete transformation in your life. And so I just wanted to share on that and kind of clear that out for anyone that was wondering, is the Christianity thing boring? Am I going to have to be stuck doing all these things I don't want to do? But Jesus says, when you love me, you obey my commands. And that's because it's an abundance of love. It's an outpour of, I love God so much. How could I do these things anymore? I feel filthy when I do these things. They're not fun anymore. They just weigh me down, and I've realized the consequences that they have and that weight that they hold on me. And it makes you realize that, the things that God says are not good for you are not good for you for a reason. It's not just because God wants to be this harsh ruler up in heaven saying, you can't have fun and you need to obey me and do the things I say. That's not it at all. God gives us complete free will to do whatever we want. But when we choose these things, we're not going to feel, the same as when we do other ways of having fun, because sin separates us from God. And so when we feel, this separation, it feels not fun at all, and it disconnects you from God. And so, that's just what I wanted to share today about Christianity being boring or being fun. And I would stand here and say that life is super fun, and I am super happy in life, and I've gone through hard seasons. That doesn't mean that the Christianity thing is easy. Never said that. Christianity does not automatically make your life easy, but I know in the back of my mind that my burden is, or his burden is light and his yoke is easy, Matthew 11, because I can give that to him. Cast your cares because he cares for you. Cast all the things because he cares for you. We have a place to put these burdens when the people of this world are just carrying them themselves. I'm really struggling with my depression and I just have to carry this all by myself. But when you become a Christian, you give that depression to Jesus. That doesn't mean you're instantly healed in a second, but it means that you give it over to him, and you have this whole community around you of people that love you and want to cheer you on and support you. And that is super freeing. I have a life group, like I've mentioned, that when I struggle with something hard, I tell them and they uplift me. They all lay hands on me, they pray over me, and they care for me so well. And it's so beautiful to see the amount of care that they have. And it feels so freeing to say, you know what, I have this group of sisters that care for me so much, and they check in on me and they want to know how I'm doing. And you know, you can have worldly friends as a Christian, but there is nothing that compares to the Christian friends that you can have that really, really change everything for you. And so that's what I have to say today. Thank you guys for listening. And if you have any questions, as always, my DMs are open. And I'm going to be changing my username soon. But for now, it's adelyn on Instagram. You can DM me there. And if you have any prayer requests, you can also DM them or comment them down below. Questions can be commented down below too, and I will try to respond to them. But I hope you guys have a beautiful day and a beautiful spring season. I am just loving it. And as always, you know, if you need anything, you can feel free to reach out. But I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.